Under the supervision of Turkish army officers, Kurdish children write on a blackboard, "How happy is he who calls himself a Turk?" The director of the Belgrade Zoo persuades a runaway chimpanzee named Sammy to return to the zoo, 1988. Defensive move by a soldier during the Mexican Civil War, 1913. The unemployed stand in line at Al Capone's free soup kitchen. The Great Depression, Chicago, USA, 1931. A long line at Morrisania Hospital for smallpox vaccinations, New York, 1947. Shoichi Yokoi, the Japanese soldier who hid in the jungle in Guam for 27 years to avoid capture, weeps upon his return to Japan in February 1972. Ancient Roman tokens used for paying prostitutes. Bandits' Roost, the most dangerous street in New York, 1888. A second before the crash, 1962. Crew members of the American B-29 bomber Enola Gay. This is the bomber that dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima in 1945. Adolf Hitler accepts birthday congratulations from youngsters of the Hitler Youth, April 20th, 1945, Germany. 10 days later, Hitler would be gone after realizing the war was lost. White people near the house of a black family they set on fire during the race riots in Chicago, 1919. A mother and her 8 sons, all of whom served in the American Army and all returned home alive in the 1950s. Jacob Miller was shot in the head in 1863 and walked away. The bullet remained in his skull for decades. A historic moment, the first female tractor driver in Uzbekistan, 1923. German prisoners of war being shown footage from a concentration camp, Germany, 1945. A shaman healer and his medicines, Ghana, 1899. Suffragette force-fed during hunger strike, Holloway Prison, UK, 1911. A shocking photo from the women's voting rights movement. A lesson in an improvised school, Hiroshima, Japan, 1946. Citizens photograph the body of famous criminal bank robber John Dillinger, displayed in the morgue for public viewing, USA, 1934. Jonas Salk declined to patent his polio vaccine in 1955. By doing so, he lost $7 billion, but made the vaccine accessible to children worldwide. Thanks to him, the incidence of polio decreased by 96%. A century-old advertisement claimed that heroin kept your head always clear and fresh. The crew of the Challenger space shuttle that perished in an explosion 73 seconds into flight. All crew members died, 1986. Manchester and Cardiff fans arguing over which team plays better football. Britain, 1970s. Girls paint glowing numbers on dials with radioactive paint. Many of them would later die from cancer, 1922. The last day of gold distribution by the government, China, 1949. Few survivors of the Titanic disaster, USA, May 1912. In 1968, for the first time in history, a woman lit the Olympic flame. In the photo, Mexican runner Ketty Basilio. The current Empress of Japan, Masako Owada, with her friends in kindergarten, 1967. A woman with a portrait of her son greets the last train with former German prisoners of war from the USSR, 1955. Henry Ford with the first car of his own production, 1896. Grandmothers with tattoos. The photo shows elderly women with tattoos, a cultural tradition among Croatian Catholics in the region, central Bosnia, around 1930. This before and after photograph shows the devastating consequences of lobotomy. The before photo shows a person full of emotion. The after photo shows the consequences of the treatment. Allied soldier inside a lookout tree, 1918. Initially, trees near the trench line were selected for this purpose. Then photographs of these trees were taken from different angles, and high-quality models were made, which were later installed at night in place of the cut-down trees. Way of fighting vagrancy in early 20th century USA. The vagrant was strapped to a chair and left outside for 10+ hours. Children and weather added to the torment. After that, most left town. On October 15, 1917, Mata Hari, a dancer of Oriental dances and the most romanticized spy of the 20th century, was executed for espionage on behalf of Germany. Mata Hari asked not to have her hands tied and no blindfold placed on her eyes. She blew a kiss to the executioners and said, "I am ready, gentlemen." A Frenchman gives Winston Churchill a light, 1944. People skating on frozen Niagara Falls, 1885. Soviet soldiers harass a German woman, Germany, 1945. German soldiers prepare a chlorine gas attack, Poland, 1915. A look at 2,000 yards, or a distant gaze, an unfocused gaze often observed in soldiers who have experienced combat trauma. Light bulbs were once repaired. A worker at a Soviet factory is restoring burned-out electric lamps. December 1942. 18-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger with his classmate, 1965. Preparation for mass executions at Babi Yar. Between 1941 and 1943, it is estimated that the Nazis executed between 70,000 and 200,000 people here. An inscription on the wall, "Mom, Dad, and I come here every day and wait for you." Signed below, "Your son Slava. During World War II, USSR, 1943. A 1855 advertisement inviting wealthy individuals to a slave auction. Wedding motorcade, Chelyabinsk region, Russia, 1990s. Moby the whale undergoes a dental checkup at Marineland Park, USA, 1964. The first known use of biological weapons, the siege of Kaffa in the 14th century. The attacking Tatars catapulted plague-infected corpses into the city, causing an epidemic. It is believed this contributed to the spread of the Black Death in Europe. Jail cell where Salem witches were kept, Siagir 1692. The pear of anguish was invented in the 16th century and used to punish women for adultery and abortions. It was inserted into the intimate area and the screw was turned, causing infernal torment. The most common goods in the store window, prosthetics, post-war London, 1946. French resistance member Georges Blind smiles while being executed by the Germans, 1944. Police used tear gas during riots in the illegal settlement of Rotterdam, South Africa. People are protesting the destruction of their homes, 1977. Night fishing in Hawaii, where bright lights attract fish to the shallows, 1968. A soldier bids farewell to his service dog, Afghanistan, 1989. The Atomic Grandma and Her Relative Grandpa, Marie Curie and Albert Einstein, 1920s. The Office of a Slave Trader in Atlanta, USA, 1864. Monks from Asakusa Temple prepare for the Sino-Japanese War, Japan, 1936. The city of Murmansk after a German carpet bombing, USSR, 1942. 350 tons of bombs were dropped on the city in one day. American submarine rescuing a pilot shot down by the Japanese, future U.S. President George H.W. Bush, 1944. If God exists, he will have to beg me for forgiveness. Inscription carved by a Jewish prisoner on the wall of a concentration camp cell. A young guy spent almost 13 years in a coma. Upon waking up, he revealed that he heard every word said to him, including his mother saying, "I hope you die." Motorized baby carriage, 1922. No seat belts or helmets. Marine reservists practicing an amphibious landing in Coronado and an unfazed man relaxing, 1978. In this touching photo from 1945, a little girl from France kisses an American soldier on the cheek on Valentine's Day. In my opinion, the photograph with the American soldier is quite ambiguous. If we recall that more than half of the civilian casualties in France during World War II were the result of American and British bombings. In 1998, a bridge was built over the Choluteca River in Honduras, but Hurricane Mitch shifted the river's course. Residents of East Berlin flee to the west through a hole in the fence before border guards notice. Berlin, 1961. A Zippo lighter belonging to an unknown American pilot. An ultra-light horse-drawn vehicle in motion in Paris, 1943. In case of war, evacuate children, cover the windows, kill the cat, 1939, United Kingdom. In September 1939, within a week of the declaration of war, over 750,000 pets were killed in the UK. The reason was simple: there would be no food to feed them. Final photo of a pet owner with their dog before euthanasia due to an incurable diagnosis. Munduruku warriors observed the work of the Bureau of Indian Affairs staff in Brasilia, 2013. Hector the Rat, France's first astronaut, 1961. A few hours before launch, Hector chewed through a bundle of cables transmitting information. After 8 minutes of flight, the animal safely returned to Earth. Memorial cross for the last witch burned in 1657 Scotland. This skull was found in France in the early 19th century and was one of the most controversial artifacts of the time. The Museum of Supernatural History, through analysis, determined that the horns are a natural part of the skull. Training Royal African Shooters to Drive, 1943. A stone on the head trains the students to keep their heads up and keep their eyes on the road. Hussein Obama, the father of U.S. President Barack Obama, also served here. From 1932 to 1945, Japan enslaved over 200,000 Korean women. Ashamed of the past, many of them preferred death or a life in complete solitude, never returning to a normal life. Sexy lingerie, France, late 19th century. A young woman writing a thank you note to her boyfriend in the Navy for the skull of a Japanese soldier that he sent, 1944. A woman miraculously survived the attack of the Twin Towers on September 11th. Russian Imperial Army soldiers in gas masks, WWI. Russian peasants are introduced to electricity, 1920. Rome on the eve of its conversion into the modern capital of the newly unified Kingdom of Italy, 1870. Austria, 1954. A 6-month-old winner of the Most Beautiful Child of America contest in 1927, Marcia Pinkelfield. Soviet border guards before execution. Brest, World War II, 1941. Vietnamese child and his father accused of aiding North Vietnamese partisans, 1966. Their fate remains unknown. Two American soldiers with a captured German anti-tank weapon, the Panzerschreck, during World War II. Julius Dack at the Chicago police station, 1906. The criminal, disguised as a woman, was hiding from the police, but it seems he still made a mistake somewhere. In public libraries of medieval Europe, books were chained to the shelves due to the high value of each copy. A device to create dimples on the face. The device was designed to make dimples on the cheeks in the style of Marlene Dietrich, 1936. In 1922, the entrance to Tutankhamun's tomb was cleared. Excavations revealed the mummy of the Egyptian pharaoh who died around 1327 BC. Hans van Dyck before the special court in Amsterdam, February 1947. Dutch collaborator who handed Jews over to the Nazis during World War II. She was the only woman in the Netherlands sentenced to death for collaborating with the occupiers. With nylon stockings scarce, women would paint their legs so it looked like stockings, 1940s. A woman asked for an autograph from a Titanic survivor, April 1912. Ballet dancers peeking into the men's changing room, Paris, 1948. The attack on the Prime Minister of India, Rajiv Gandhi, 1987. During Gandhi's official visit to Sri Lanka, one of the soldiers in the honor guard struck him with his rifle butt. Future President of Lithuania, Dalia Grybauskaitė, working at a construction site, USSR, 1971. On October 22, 1895, a train running at full speed to make up for its delay failed to brake in time. It crossed the Montparnasse station, broke through the facade, and went 10 meters beyond. Sparked a reaction. Whether good or bad, I'd love to read your comments below. Get ready for the next installment very soon. Please like and subscribe so you don't miss out. Catch you later.